the King's Speech, the government is expected to include legislation forcing ministers to conduct an annual oil and gas licensing round.
This came out yesterday, and it sent those people from Just Stop Oil, who you know we love and hate in equal measure, into a bit of a spin.
That's right, 2 protesters were arrested after glass protecting the Rokeby Venus painting at the National Gallery in London was smashed.
About 100 arrests were also made by the police as Just Stop Oil were causing chaos marching on Whitehall.
So Dr. Patrick Hart is a spokesperson for Just Stop Oil and joins us now. I have to say, Patrick, I do admire the fact that you and your lot will have these conversations with us. A lot of the time, people who are trying to make social change do it behind closed doors, and they won't have these really difficult conversations because we are, as 2 people sitting here, we are furious about these sorts of protests, the destruction, the pointless damage to a picture like this, the disruption to people's lives, and the awful lengths that you're going to, which don't make any difference whatsoever to whether we should have more oil and gas licences.
So I take your point, the outrage caused by this. I've been involved in lots of these types of actions myself, and I see it from my family, from my friends. They are annoyed, they're angry, and I understand that. It's a natural reaction. But then what they say is, I admire you for standing up for your values. So I'm a doctor, and I became a doctor because of my core values, and that is that I want people to be safe, to live their life in safety, to be able to do what they want, be around their family, have a happy life.
Are you a medical doctor?
I'm a GP.
Yeah.
So every day I go to work, and my number one concern is keeping my patients safe. And that is the exact reason why I am doing these actions, to keep people safe.
But you know, on occasions, the tactics of Just Stop Oil has meant ambulances have been unable to get to hospital because you've disrupted the traffic so badly. How does that equate with your Hippocratic oath about keeping people safe as a doctor?
So I have a real problem with this. So,
well, that's not as big a problem as the person in the ambulance does.
Well, listen to what I've got to say. We asked for freedom of information requests to the ambulance service, and no emergency ambulance has ever been delayed by Just Stop Oil. And I think what you're doing, unfortunately, is fear-mongering, and you're trying to make Just Stop Oil supporters sound like scary people. So what I want to What I want to say to you is, I'm sat here in front of you. I'm a family doctor. I've been a family doctor now for 5 years, and a doctor for nearly 14 years. All I've done up until becoming a supporter of Just Stop Oil is go to work and look after families and their children, okay? Am I really that scary? Or maybe, am I just a normal person?
I find you absolutely terrifying. I find that absolutely terrifying. And the worst kind of doctors are those who sit there and say, it is my job to keep you safe. This awful patrician attitude, as though that person's health, that person's well-being, is also partly their responsibility. And that idea that it is your job to keep me safe, it is not your job to keep me safe. It isn't.
I take your point. So, I would challenge that. The duties of a doctor, as outlined by my regulator, the GMC, are patient safety is your first priority. So
we fully informed consent on the part of the patient.
This is the oath that I've taken. But no, you're right. Whose job really is it to keep us safe? Actually, it's our government's job. And in the past, at times of war, at times of economic collapse, great turmoil and disaster, the government has kept us safe. Now, in 2023, the government is doing the exact opposite. Every time the government says we're going to drill for more oil in the North Sea, they are putting our lives in danger, British people's lives in danger.
I disagree.
And killing us, okay?
I disagree, and you can find scientists who would disagree with you and say that they do not have that same consensus.
If we look really, really hard, maybe we'll find one, but 99.9% of scientists around the world, and might I add, global doctors and healthcare workers. We've seen just last week a joint letter from the representatives of 3 million doctors around the world say new oil and gas means death for our patients.
So let's just keep importing gas from Russia then, shall we?
No.
And how is that environmentally friendly?
No. Let's get ourselves off oil and gas. So the reason we're still using so much oil and gas...
importing liquid gas, which is
the reason
more damage to the environment.
The reason we're still using so much oil and gas is because the companies, the already very wealthy companies, very powerful companies, who drill this stuff up, the polluters, are keeping us addicted. Okay, we
you know
could.
What? I am addicted to having a warm house because the cold kills more people every winter than the heat ever does.
I thought you might say this. So that question implies we have to choose: do we die of cold or do we die of heat? Okay. How about we said, in one of the richest countries on earth, at one of the greatest times to be alive, maybe we could say we won't die of either. We could insulate our homes and install heat pumps.
Fine, so protest about that.
Whoa,
protest about that.
I am. Heat pumps, which in the middle of summer, you flick a switch and it becomes an air conditioner, OK?
How does smashing a painting at the National Gallery help this?
Let me finish. Nobody has to die of heat or cold, all right? Why on earth do we accept either of those things? How does smashing a painting help? OK, so the painting, which wasn't smashed, the glass was smashed, is the exact painting that over 100 years ago, back in 1914, you already said it yourself, the Suffragettes actually slashed the painting, OK? At that time, the world we were living in was, again, a world where politics was broken. Women had been asking nicely for the vote for a very long time, OK? And then finally, a group of women got together, ordinary women got together and said, what are our values? What do we really care about? We care about equal rights for women, and we are not going to be ignored any longer. They slashed that painting, and now we build statues of them, OK?
It is so offensive to me. I am almost impossible to offend, Patrick, but I find it so offensive to compare the suffragettes protesting for women to have the vote to take part in our democracy with you deciding, with Just Stop Oil, deciding that there's a consensus on the science. The very definition of science is never consensus.
That was the scientists.
And that you've all decided that for my benefit, you need to cause this kind of disruption in London, this kind of damage across London and Europe. It is not your place to make that decision for other people.
So the two people who did Just Stop Oil supporters who took part in this action, they actually are, I think they were 20 and 22. They're young people. They are actually doing it because they're fighting for their own lives, OK? They have to live with the consequences of the decisions being made.
Well, they're going to have a criminal record now, so...
Well, so why would someone say, OK, I accept a criminal record, because actually that's better than what's coming down the line to me?
Because they're young kids who don't know what they're doing.
Because they are well informed and they are standing up for their values.
They're young kids
standing up against an act of genocide, which is new oil and gas. It is an act of genocide.
That is an over-the-top statement.
I'm afraid that it's just the truth.
Why do you go? Your tactics are ludicrous.
If you don't like it,
and the narrative you're painting here is over the top.
If you don't like it, I don't blame you. Genocide is a terrifying word, but unfortunately, that is the truth. So what I've got to say is no new oil and gas, and anyone listening to this, come and join us. Saturday the 18th of November, Trafalgar Square, midday. Get down there, join Just Stop Oil.